guys, it's Tori. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Today's video, I'm doing a storytime video for you guys, and I absolutely love storytime videos. I asked you guys in my Q&A video if you'd like to see this as a storytime video, and so many of you guys said yes. I'm going to be sharing two stories with you guys. These are two of my most embarrassing moments ever, and I'm really nervous. I never thought I'd be putting this out on the internet, but I hope you guys enjoy because it's pretty funny and very embarrassing for me. So if you guys want to hear those stories, just keep on watching. So this first story takes place my sophomore year of high school, and I was with my boyfriend Brad, like I still am, you guys know Brad, and we weren't dating for very long, and this just happened with him, and it was so embarrassing. So I'm gonna give you a little backstory. I was at the dentist and kind of had like a horror story. I'm just gonna sum it up really fast. I had a cavity and they, filled it or whatever, but I don't think they did it right. They like left it open, so it got infected, my tooth. And then I had to have a root canal done, and I went and got that done, and the root canal was done wrong. I have no idea, it got infected again, so I had to go in for another root canal, but I went to like a specialist or whatever, and that was just, oh, that was terrible. That was just like a horrible experience at the dentist. That's one reason why I hate the dentist. So I was in a lot of pain, so they gave me some painkillers, and they told me when they gave me these, they're like, you need to eat and then take it. You can't take these pills on an empty stomach, and stupid Tori didn't listen. So after the dentist, I took one of the painkillers, and my mom dropped me off at my boyfriend's family's house, and we just kind of hung out there for a little bit, and I was feeling fine, like nothing was wrong. I didn't eat, very stupid. So his mom was like, we need to run some errands. So we hopped in the car and we went to some places. I was with my boyfriend, his mom, his brother, and his stepdad, and we were out running some errands. The first place we went to was Walmart, and at this time I was starting to feel kind of sick. I was feeling nauseous. I was hungry. I wasn't feeling good, and so I got a bag of chips just hoping that would help make me feel better, and it didn't. I took a bite of the chip and it was just like, it was horrible. It was not good. It made me feel worse, honestly, but you know how like whenever you're sick and you need to eat, but you like don't want to eat because it like makes you feel bad? That's how I felt. So we had to run out to his mom's friend's house, and she kind of lived far away, so we were in the car for a little bit, and as this time was going on, I was just getting kind of like car sick. I felt really nauseous. I felt like I was gonna get sick. I just felt gross, like I was like sweating, and I just did not feel good. So whenever we got to his mom's friend's house, she was like, I just need to get some stuff from her. So she went in with everyone, and Brad and I stayed in the car. I was like, can I stay in the car? Like I don't feel very good. They're like, oh yeah. So they ran in, and they all were gone, and I got out of the car and I started throwing up by this chick's mailbox, and it was so embarrassing, but nobody saw, and I was like, okay, I feel a lot better. Like this is fine. I feel better. Get back to the car, and I was just sitting in there, and I was like awkwardly like, I don't feel good, but I didn't want to tell them that I got sick because it's just like embarrassing. So I was just like, hey, I'm not feeling good. Do you mind taking me home? And she's like, oh yeah, not a problem at all. So I actually called my mom, or like texted my mom to like meet me halfway because we were kind of far away, and she met us halfway because I just like couldn't wait. I was not feeling good, and I was just like, oh, just drop me off here. My mom will meet you here, and you can drop me off. So we're driving, and I feel like I'm going to get sick everywhere. Like I just felt so nasty at this point. We finally get to the halfway point with my mom, and we're pulling into the parking lot, and I jump out of the car, jump out of this moving car, and I start throwing up everywhere, like projectile vomiting everywhere in front of my boyfriend's family. They're all like staring at me, and I'm just like throwing up. But I wasn't just like standing there throwing up. I was like running and throwing up because I didn't want them to see me. But I'm in this open parking lot, and there's nowhere to hide. So I'm just running, and I'm throwing up, and I'm running, and I'm throwing up, and they're all just like staring at me. It was seriously the most embarrassing moment ever. And I wasn't like getting sick like a little bit. You know how you just throw up just like a little bit? No, I was throwing up so much. And I have no idea because I had an empty stomach. I was just throwing up so much, like it was a freaking waterfall, and it was so gross and so embarrassing. And I just like look over, and they're all just like sitting in their car like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, like just don't look at me. Like I was so embarrassed. So I see my mom pulling up, and I get in the car with her and finally stop throwing up, but she brought me some water, and like I was better after I got that out of my system. But I remember like texting my boyfriend in the car ride home with my mom, and I was like so embarrassed. I was like, I'm so sorry, like I'm sorry. Like I was just so embarrassed. And I remember texting him like, are you gonna break up with me? And it's just, I felt ridiculous like texting him that, but I was so embarrassed. And he's like, of course I'm not gonna break up with you. It was really funny and very embarrassing. But I went home and I got some food and I felt better. But yeah, so a quick note, if you ever have like painkillers or medicine and it says do not take on an empty stomach, do not take on an empty stomach. Okay, so that was story number 1, and now we're moving on to story number 2, and I feel like this one's a little bit more embarrassing. So this story took place beginning of my freshman year of high school, and I was hanging out with one of my friends. We're going to name her Kelsey, and I was really close with this girl. We hung out all the time. You know, we always hung out at her house. We always hung out at my house. We were with each other all the time, and she was like, hey, like, do you want to hang out with me and my friend? We're gonna call her Alexa. So Kelsey's like, hey, do you want to hang out with Alexa and I? We're going to go to this little band concert thing. We're just gonna hang out and have a sleepover at her house. And I was like, yeah, sure, like, why not? I went over to her house, and then we went over to her friend's Alexa's house, and I really liked this girl. Like, she was really cool. Like, she was somebody that I could see like hanging out with all the time. Like, she was really cool. And she's like, hey, like, my friends are in a band. Like, you know, that was like the thing in high school, like to have a friend in a band. And they had like a little get-together concert thing. I have no idea where it was. Like, looking back at it, it was just like this random building. You had to like pay to get in, and it was just like a stage. And I remember like all like the bands would go there and play. We get to this place, we get inside, and there's a band playing and everything. Like, it was pretty cool. And we were there for like a long time, but we like got to know each other. Like, I really liked this girl Alexa, and it was like Alexa, Kelsey, and I, and we were just hanging out, you know, having fun. Like, she was really cool. She didn't go to my school or anything. They both didn't go to my school, so I like wouldn't see them every day. I would just see them like whenever we hung out. So we hung out there all night, and then whenever the concert was over, we got picked up by her mom, Alexa's mom, and we went back to Alexa's house. So we went back to her house, and we were just hanging out. Like, this girl was really cool. Like, I remember her room being the coolest room ever. Like, I literally wanted her room. It was in the basement of her house, so it was like really secluded down there, but she had this giant room. I remember she had this big bed. Like, it was a queen size bed, but at the time, like, I was like, oh my god, this bed is huge. She had this big like headboard. Like, her room was decked out. Like, she had a really nice room. And in her room, she had this giant walk-in closet, and she had a bathroom in her room. Like, I thought this girl was like the luckiest girl ever, like having a bathroom and a giant closet in her room. But the rest of the night, we kind of just like hung out, and then right before we went to bed, we had cereal, and I remember having this giant bowl of Cocoa Puffs. I don't even eat Cocoa Puff cereal, but I remember loving it. Like, it was the best meal I've ever had, and I even drank the juice because it was like all chocolatey. It was very good. So we eat our Cocoa Puffs, and then we head to bed, and I'm gonna kind of have like a diagram right here so you can see how we were sleeping in the bed. It was Alexa and Kelsey right here, and then I was like in between them like that. So we went to bed. I had the weirdest dream that night. I had a dream that I was like peeing. And in this dream, I was just like peeing forever. Like, it was the strangest thing. But I actually woke up and I was still peeing. I was peeing in her bed. And as I'm laying there, I'm still peeing. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I just peed the bed. Like, I started freaking out. I was like panicking. Like, I freaking peed in this girl's bed, and I didn't know what to do. And they were still sound asleep or whatever. And I was freaking out. So I remember crawling out of bed super quietly, and I looked at her bed, and it was seriously the biggest pee spot ever. I think that was like the biggest pee I've ever had, and it was in this girl's bed. What would you do in that situation? So I didn't wake her up and let her know I peed the bed. I went into her closet and I got some towels. This is so embarrassing. I started like patting the bed down just to try to soak up all the pee, and I used, I think, 3 towels. And it was so embarrassing. I don't know how they didn't wake up when I was like moving around in the bed and stuff, but I looked down. Of course, my pants were soaked, so I changed. I did have extra clothes because I had like my sleepover bag or whatever, so I had extra clothes. The pee wasn't as noticeable. It wasn't like as wet or whatever, and after I got done doing all that, I didn't know what to do with the towels. I didn't want to like put them in the dirty clothes basket because I didn't want her to be like, what are these? Like, why are these in here? So I just folded up the towels, and then I put them back into the closet. I did. I know. That's really bad. And I feel really bad. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't know what to do. I was 13 years old, and I was like freaking out. I was like, I don't know what to do. I just peed this girl's bed, and I just got all these dirty towels. I'm just gonna put them back. Put them back, and then I went back to bed, and then I remember waking up from my dad. He was like calling my phone. So I got up out of bed, and they were still asleep. Like, they were just asleep, and I just left. Got my stuff, and I left. I get home, and I don't have my phone. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm calling my phone from my dad's phone, and of course, Alexa answers. And she doesn't say like anything on the phone. Like, she doesn't sound mad or anything. So like, I don't even know if she like knew what happened at that moment. So we pulled up to her house again, and my dad honked so she could run it out to me, and her mom brought it to me. So I'm thinking that she figured out that I peed her bed, and I don't know, it's just very embarrassing. So her mom brought it out for me, and I literally never talked to that girl again. Alexa. I never talked to her ever again. That was the last time I saw her. That's the last time I talked to her. And I would still see my friend Kelsey all the time, but she never brought it up. So I don't know like exactly if she ever figured it out or like what happened, but that is my most embarrassing moment. Alrighty guys, that is the 2 stories that I have for you guys. I really hope you enjoy this, and looking back, I'm just gonna laugh at myself. Like, it is honestly hilarious, but at the time I was so embarrassed. And if you ever have like an embarrassing moment like that, don't worry, you're not alone, and just learn to laugh at yourself because it's gonna happen. We're all gonna do embarrassing things. But I really hope you guys did enjoy this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in my next video.